Good morning, everyone. Yes, very good morning. Shall we begin the session? Today's topic is the CFMX SQL that is used within the pair, that is used with the special tags, that is the CF query will be opened, the CF query will be closed. And within this, there is a SQL statement that lies within the CF query. And a name is also a useful reference to the output from a database transaction. So if it is needed, it will require in another place of the current or another templates. The only requirement is that there is a unique name that is chosen out. So this data source parameter specifies which database is relevant. In our code, the name is DB, which implies that a CF set session.data source DB must be set. So this is the first requirement. We have to set the database. That is a CF set session.data source DB. That is also a part of the application.cfm template. So we consider the four basic SQL statements, that is a select, insert, delete, update. Now alright, take 2 moments. So when we talk about the four SQL statements, that includes the select, insert, update and delete. And within each statement, a number of the clauses can be specified, of which some are restricted to use with only one of the two or more SQL statements, and most of these clauses are given in the alphabetical order, that is the from, group by, having, into, join, order by, set, values, where, union. So when we use these statements, that will be used for the SQL clauses. And for the construction of the compound statement, SQL provides also a large set of the operators. What these operator contains, that is equals to, not equals to, less than, greater than, less than equals to, greater than equals to, plus, minus, divided by, multiplied by, and or not, is, in, between, like, exist. These are the few operator that is also used over here. And in addition to the data source name, you must also know the name of the table, columns, and the rows from which you want to retrieve the data or add the data. The table, column, and the row specification will be discussed over here. Next is the opinion polling, that is the institute or the scenario for the service we shall use to explain the SQL statements. And the institute investigates changing opinion among 5 competing brands of a certain commodity. And this organization also uses a rotating panel of the voters who are interviewed about their preference each week. So they are using the rotating panel, they are using the significant result, they are using with a certain number of the voters to provide the significant, we can see the result. And for each voter, name, telephone, age, home area is also recorded for the establishment of the panel. Every Monday, each Monday, the panel voters are interviewed, that is, make the alternative among the 5 competing products. That may include the interview panel, that may include the voter name, telephone number, age, that may also change and also checked out. And the updating takes place on Wednesday. And each Thursday, stats are also generated. That means a list, or we can say the tables are also generated, and the reports are maintained on each Friday. So this is a, we can say the scenario, this is the distribution, how we can, or how we can make the changes, how we can make the arrangements that is available within a week. So one fraction of the panel is also substituted with the new voters, and this shows the process in the process system. In this session, we assume that the DB data source has specified table name voters, and this will be given with the name of the columns of the boxes. So this is the table voters. Then these are the various fields. These are the various, we can say the captchas recorded that is available for these voters. One is the ID, automatic generated, family name, text, first name, telephone, age, memory that contains from 18 to 99, area is the text alternative that also from 1 to 10, vote that is the text alternative from A to F, E, sorry. So insert data for individuals, telephone list for interviews, updating the data or updating a table, computing stats, rotating sample. So these are the few points that will be considered out for the data, that will be considered out for the individuals, that makes the list, that makes the interviews update. So one is the insert data for individuals, then make the telephone list for interviews, updating the table, compute the stats, rotating the sample. So this is the figure 1 that makes the opinion poll application that is carried out with the modification that we use that makes a linked demonstration of the application available at the end of the session. So this is the application.cfm. CF application name equals to database. So we are giving the name as a database of the CF application in which the name is given as a session management database, session timeout, create time span that includes the 0030, then CF set, session data source that is a DB. So we are taking out the data source as a DB. And this application.cfm cookies used in this example are also not needed, but the CF set tag for setting the session.data source variable have been added up. That has been implemented by the index.cfm template that introduces the application. And this is an ordinary HTML type of the form template with simple hyperlinks for different opinions. And so we could have a name that is used with the index.html. So this is the output over here, that is opinion polls symbol that represents with the panel members, and that will be updated, that will be used with the panel operators also. And the table is a basis for computing the stats that is given over here in the paragraph that will initialize, list, update, compute, delete. This is the application menu, index.cfm. Then H2 font color is blue, opinion poll, that is a font. H2 P opinion poll system is font. So these are the few tags that is used. That is the index.cfm. Then font color blue, opinion polling, font H2 P opinion poll system is. Then initialize font with the sample of the panel voters. Each Monday it will be given, and after the interview, a table with the data for each of the panel voters is also the font color, and it's also basis for the computing for the week. At the end of the week, the first panel voter on the list is given over here with the font size, and a new voter at the end of the list. So we have started with the oval, then there is a li, then again there is a oval that is closed over here. Next is the insert statement that is used to identify and recruit a representative panel of the persons willing to serve on the panel. Next part is the insert statement that will be used to recruit, that will be assigned with the value that will be collected of their name, telephone number, age, and the area in which they live. And the votes will be collected later by the interview. This is the form to be used for adding the new members to the interview panel. There is a family name, first name, telephone number, age, area, submit the new panel member. This is the criteria why it is improving out, why it is used to make the interview panel. So figure 3 establishes the form for establishing the list of the panel members. And to establish the list of panel members, voters, a form template will be needed to record and for transcribing collected information to a table in the database. That will be jump up, that will be looked up, and the template will also like the following. That is form.cfm h2. Color is also blue, that is the form to be used for establishing the interview panel. The next one is add.cfm. Then P, paragraph family name, then there's a text box, first name, telephone number, age, area, input type, that is also a submit with the value given, and the form will be closed. And as you see in the template, this form also requests a template name add.cfm when it is submitted for the further process. So this form.cfm template also uses the ordinary HTML tag and could have been named with the .htm extension. And it will subsequently or consequently use the .cfm extension. And the purpose of the add.cfm template is to append a new row with the values to a database table known as the voters. This will be given with the application.id that keeps tracks of the last identification number assigned. So this qualifier application makes the variable persistent with the application, and in that other word, the service will also keep the number in mind from session to session. And this line will be applicable if the application has been active before and the application ID variable has been defined. And if not, the variable is defined in the next line and also assigns the value 0. So if the application has already been transferred and the control is used from the line 2 to the 5 and the value identification is also increased, so the first time identifier variable is also assigned to the value 1, next time value 2, and so on. So it is given, it is assigned, it is used with the value or the variable that is directly transferred from the line 2 to the 5. So let's take the coding again. Add.cfm that is used with the node is defined. It is listing over here. It is defined over here with the application ID as a 0. Now next part is the CF set application ID that is given as a 1. Again there is a query name, add data source. Insert into the voters, ID, family name, first name, telephone, age, area, vote. Again there is a values that includes the application ID, that includes the family name, first name, telephone, age, and the area. Then the CF query will be closed. After closing CF query, we are making out the CF location. The URL is a form.cf. And this template uses over here in the line 6 that uses with the query tag with an insert into statement that specifies the name of the table, voters, and also predefined columns of the table following in a parenthesis. That is extremely important that the list contains column names correctly spelled, because unless and until we are not giving the names incorrectly spelled, that are not used as a value attribute, that is used with the parenthesis containing all the values that should be served, that should be saved in a new row of the table. So by using the important details, we are using by specified the value represented by the variable name that is given. So it is enclosed with the hash before and after the name. For example, it is used with the family name if it is needed. and it is viewed with the text type with the indicated by the single quotes before and after the name, that is also indicated by the hash. For example, there is a hash family name. As you see, we also specifies all the values of the text, where the variable was specified as a text when it is defined with a table in the database. The last value is a dash that also surrounded with a text variable and the value of the variable board that is preliminary to the dash because the person has not yet been interviewed. And after all panel members have been appropriately recorded by means of this form, the polling can also start. That can also be given out. Next is the select statement. This is used for making the conversation, for making the effective, that needs a list of calling the panel voters, and this can also be retrieved by calling the template list.cfm that illustrates the use of the statement to select. That makes a list that makes the usage of this one, and the SQL will be used that is required. And this attribute will be specified from which table that will be given, that will be retrieved. And as for all the SQL statement, the syntax is very much strict because only the variable names specified in the names are also accepted over here. So this is a list.cfm, query name, list, data source, session.data source, ID, family name, first name, telephone number. CF query will be closed, then font color, blue, list of the panel voters, font, H2, then table, TR, TD, and so on. This will be given with the same table group, same table data. So this will be excluded from the listing to avoid that the interviewer reminds the panel voters about their last or answers last. And this is the concern of the tabulation of the list. And these table tags were used from the HTML, which permits more elaborate tables with the background borders. That makes the CF query, that makes the CF output tag by its name, query list. And all the retrieved rows are considered as a query object with the name list. And by referring to the attributes query list in the CF output, it is received with the table water that will be listing according to the table specification. And there is a no loop that is required, no loops are needed out. Next is the update, that means making the changes in the table. Example illustrates how it is going well, how it is going bad. This is the list of the panel members. You have to create with the H2 or the H1 tag, whatever the tag you have. Then ID, family name, first name, telephone, age, area. So these are given as headings, that is the TH. Then we have to insert the data by using the ID, family name, first name, telephone, age, and the area. Again next part, again next part. So these three parts will be used as a family name, as